Yo, so I just got done playing a show with Veronica North, and it was awesome. And I did something at that show that was new and an idea that I had a little bit ago, and it was awesome. So I'm gonna show you guys what I did. My studio room is a mess right now, as is normally the case when I've just finished the show. So basically what my idea was is to take Logic and run it essentially as a wave server, running effects and all that in Logic and sending it through the IO of my rack here that I have in my studio that has a ton of inputs, a ton of outputs, and a bunch of DIs in it. So what I did was, instead of plugging into the mixer with all our inputs, which we only had 3 inputs, there was Veronica's voice, there was Veronica's guitar, which we used the pickup and her Taylor, and then my instrument microphone. I was switching between acoustic guitar and mandolin. So only 3 inputs. I was pretty confident that we could get enough processing going to be cool without having Logic add any latency. So what we ended up doing is plugging in 1, 2, and then 3 in the back for our 3 inputs, running those into Logic channels. And what I ended up doing was pretty simple, just compression on Veronica's vocal. Why is this so low? That's better, I can stand up now. Okay, so we ended up, for Veronica's vocal, throwing a compressor. I just used Logic's stock compressor, the Platinum Digital, and then a stock reverb, which I realized when we got there that we didn't have Wi-Fi at the venue, so I had to use all stock stuff because I don't have an iLok for my plugins yet. That one's on me though. So we've got compressor on Veronica's voice and some reverb. Her guitar, I put some reverb. My microphone, I put some reverb. Just really basic stuff. It was an outdoor venue, so I wanted to get some space going because sometimes for outdoor shows it can sound really dry. Sometimes at outdoor venues it can sound really dry and just lifeless if you don't have a lot of space in the mix. So I just threw some reverb on there to get it feeling like there was some life and some atmosphere to it for that outdoor venue. Can I focus? Come on M50, you can do this. Okay, so after that comes the complicated part, at least complicated to me, of getting sound out of the laptop back into the PA. So what I'm doing for that is, normally in Logic, all your tracks default to going to stereo output. That's your 2-bus, where you throw your mastering chain if you're doing music production in Logic. That's where it just normally goes. But you can have it go wherever you want. So I open it up, and where you can see where it would normally be going to stereo output, you can have it go to any individual output of your hardware on your interfaces, which for me, I have 20 outputs on this, more than I could ever imagine using. So what I did was patch each of these to a hardware output, and then in the back of this, I've got a snake, just a bunch of TRS cables in the back that go from my I/O on my first rack mount interface into the DIs, from which I can use another snake, this time XLRs, going from the outputs of the DIs into the mixer at whatever venue we're at. So we can use whatever processing Logic can do without any latency, which you can get a surprising amount before it starts adding any latency, even with reverb engines and that sort of thing. So I was really impressed with how this worked, and it turned a pretty basic PA into something that was expressing a lot more like creative sounds. That's really what I wanted to do. And I wanted to share with you guys how I did that, because if you have a computer with Logic, even GarageBand this might work. I'd imagine this would work in any other DAW as well, and any interface and any DI, like it doesn't have to be big like this. You could totally scale this way down to just a basic interface and a basic stereo DI. Just get a couple of channels going, but I was really impressed with how this worked, and I wanted to share it.